this victim mentality that the Democratic Party have been pushing for so damn long, it's tiring. It's tiring. So yes, I left the party. I became a Republican because that's where my morals, that's where my ethics align with. And I'm sure a lot of you felt the same way, which is one of the reasons why we do have a Republican president in the White House today. So do better, man. This hate that you guys are pushing, it's no longer attractive. This communist socialist ideology that you guys are pushing, it doesn't work.
And the fact that there are so many on the left who support ostracization and assassinations just because you don't agree with somebody just deeply bothers me, and is why I personally cannot associate myself with the left anymore. Any party that is like that, I can't get on board with, personally speaking. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like a full-on MAGA conservative, because that's not true, but I definitely do resonate more with the idea that the left has left me, because this is a party that I don't even recognize anymore. I think they have lost the plot. I think that there are some serious fundamental issues with the left that need to be addressed and reformed and changed if they expect people to proudly support the Democratic Party.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Warriors, I've got even more voters who have left the Democrat Party following what happened to Charlie Kirk. People's eyes are being opened, and you never know exactly how God is going to use a particular situation to turn his people around and have a true spiritual turning point. That's what we'll be talking about today on Chat with Me, Linda B. All right, Warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up. It really helps my videos go out farther into YouTube. Comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications, stick around to the end. Let's go. All right, so I got to do this. I saw these people speaking out, and what they are actually saying rings so true. When I find that someone is saying something that I think you all need to hear, I'm just going to let you hear it. Okay, so I'm going to play these both back to back, and I'll come back with my commentary.
You want to know why I left the Democratic Party? I left because of things like this. I left because we no longer value life. I left because they would rather push crazy ideas on people instead of valuing the opinions of the mass. I left because it was no longer about common sense. It was about how I feel. I left because we in the United States have tried so hard to follow the American dream. But yet, when it comes to Democratic Party, it's like everything got to be handed to you. It's no longer about you working hard for what you believe in. It's no longer about you working hard to get where you need to go. It's all about handouts. I left because it became the party of hate. It no longer represents anything constructive. It no longer represents anything that is good, right? I left because it's as if you are being pushed towards evil even more than you are being pushed towards God. My house is a Christian house. My house is a house of God. And so there are certain things I can no longer ally myself with, And I left because the Democratic Party want you to feel as if you are a victim all the time. And that is tiring. Just because my skin is melanated, I'm a black man in the United States, that doesn't make me a victim. Because I wake up every day, I work every day, and I go to wherever I want freely. Okay? And so this victim mentality that the Democratic Party have been pushing for so damn long, it's tiring. It's tiring. So yes, I left the party. I became a Republican because that's where my morals, that's where my ethics align with. And I'm sure a lot of you felt the same way, which is one of the reasons why we do have a Republican president in the White House today. So do better, man. This hate that you guys are pushing, It's no longer attractive. This communist socialist ideology that you guys are pushing, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And now you guys have gone through so far off the rail that you would assassinate and celebrate the assassination of someone that stands strong, of a patriot, of someone that values life, of someone that values togetherness. Like, that's crazy. So that's why I left. And I will never go back because my interests are aligned with the Republican Party.
So I don't make political content on my page because of my own personal experience with speaking my mind on political topics. I went to a very liberal arts college, heavy on the liberal aspect. It was basically an echo chamber of liberal indoctrination, and I barely came out of there with a sane mind because any opinion that I had that wasn't 100% on board with liberals caused me to be socially ostracized, criticized with every name in the book: racist, homophobic, bigot, this, that, and the third, which couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, I used to be the biggest liberal out there. I actually organized and hosted my own protests when George Floyd died. Just you guys are gonna laugh, but I also had a septum piercing. I had blue hair, so I know that stereotype is out there. So it's kind of true, but that's how I was back around 2019, 2020, just that era. Where things started to change was when I started to get a lot of pushback and criticism for just speaking my own opinions on college campus. It really shook me deeply to my core and made me self-reflect, research a lot of topics, and I just started diving more into conservative opinions. So I started watching people like Amir Odom on YouTube, Amal Akanobi, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Piers Morgan, Blair White. All of those prominent YouTube channels, started watching their videos, and I started realizing how much the left has brainwashed me in a way. Just my way of thinking was very much a victim mentality, and I wasn't happy when I was a Democrat. I was very upset, angered all the time, wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't at my healthiest back then either. So I think those are very interesting correlations. Now, it may not be the case for everyone, and it probably isn't, but for me personally, that was my experience as a Democrat.
I know I said I was going to stop it after they finished talking, but I have to pause right there. Something she said stood out to me, that she was not her healthiest when she was a Democrat. She was not healthy. Last year, I did a video on Misha Maynor. She is a politician out of Atlanta who was a Democrat but switched over to the Republican side. She said her blood pressure was high as a Democrat, and it went down to 115/69 as a Republican. So the whole thing of anger, being upset and mad, that is, I don't care if it's about politics or whatever it's about, it can really rob you of your health, spiritually speaking, mentally, and physically. All right, so it's just not healthy at all.
And I do think that part of the reason why that was is because the Democrat mindset is that you are a victim, subject to your circumstances as an Afro-Latina Black woman here in America. It's like, oh, you have no rights because you're Black and it's hard for you. You're probably poor and you can't do anything. You can't make your life better. Just, things like that just really, when you internalize them, it becomes your reality, right? So that was like my reality back then. And I had to wake up and realize that that's not the case. Like, my mom is very successful. It was a very good, high-paying job. I was raised very comfortably, upper middle class. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do without an issue. And this is like when I was growing up. So the whole idea that just because I'm Black, I can't make the most of my situation is just completely false. Same applies to my family. There's hardly anybody in my family who's really struggling. If it's, that's not due to their own choices. Of course, I have some family members who are not doing as well as they could be, but they chose to do drugs. They chose to stay in really bad areas, which of course also impact how you view life. Ever since then, I've just been down the rabbit hole of Charlie Kirk's videos, and I just can't understand the hatred that this man had gotten. As someone who's also wrestled with my own faith, I grew up in a very traditional Christian household. You know, I know what it's like to just, you know, wrestle with that in your connection with God. Just in watching his videos, it's actually strengthened my relationship with God. It's brought me closer to him just to see how passionate, how secure he was in his faith. It's actually very admirable. And you know, you can believe what you want. I don't care what you believe in. I just know for me how I was raised. It was deeply moving for me to see a man like that, especially in today's day and age, just so proud of his faith and proud to share that with other people. I'm always scared to bring up my faith in conversation because of the criticism that I've gotten in the past, and also my own personal struggles as well. But watching his videos just showed me how dark and demonic people have been in their reaction to his assassination, and the fact that there are so many on the left who support ostracization and assassinations just because you don't agree with somebody just deeply bothers me, and is why I personally cannot associate myself with the left anymore. Any party that is like that, I can't get on board with, personally speaking. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like a full-on MAGA conservative, because that's not true, but I definitely do resonate more with the idea that the left has left me, because this is a party that I don't even recognize anymore. I think they have lost the plot. I think that there are some serious fundamental issues with the left that need to be addressed and reformed and changed if they expect people to proudly support the Democratic Party.
All right, so you heard those two people, okay? And I gotta just say, the fact that she said her health, she's, when you deal with anger and animosity and rage just coming from the left, just thinking about how I used to feel when I did not like President Trump. I was a Republican voter, but I switched to vote for Hillary in 2016, voted for Biden and Kamala in 2020, but voted for Trump and Vance in 2024 because I bought the lies of the media. And that time I was angry. I was upset. I looked at people where I worshiped with the side eye because I knew they supported Trump, but that was wrong of me. I should have done my research and I would not have had to go through all of that stress. So being on the left does cause you some issues in your spiritual realm, mental and physical. But the Democrat Party did something that they never thought they would do. And that is bring even more people from the Democrat side to the Republican side. Congratulations, Demon Rat. You managed to do something you never thought you could do, which is get us on the Republican side more voters. You are red pilling better than anyone I know. Congratulations, you've secured a losing spot in the 2026 elections with the midterms and in 2028. Wow, who would have thunk it? And also, let me just say, 2024, President Trump won, even though they tried to get it so he couldn't win. But he won. But more so, in my opinion, is that the Democrats lost more than he won, because they did such a horrible job over the past 4 years. A horrible job with the border, crime, everything. How they mistreated law-abiding, tax-paying Americans in favor of illegals. They don't have any money in the school budget but to get a rec center open, but all of a sudden they have all this money for these illegal immigrants. Okay, so you all think about that and resonate with that. All right, so more people are leaving the Democrat Party, more and more and more. All right, people are like, I can't be a part of this, where you guys are cheering what happened to that man, a 31-year-old believer, a husband, a father, a son, a friend, a neighbor. You cheered his death. You all are despicable, you are evil, and you are on the wrong side of things. You all tell me what you think in the comments below. Don't forget that I am here on most Mondays through Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, doing a live show. I go live during that time. It's very interactive. I highlight your comments, answer your questions. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.